I've had many praying in tongues testimonies. Some of the testimonies were really amazing, but the testimony I'm about to tell you today tops the list. What makes it so special? Well, a few things. First, it was leaked. The lady who experienced the testimony wanted to keep it secret. You'll understand why when you hear the testimony. Secondly, the testimony was an answer to a prayer that very many believers make, praying for provision. If you are a fan of praying in tongues testimonies, sit back and enjoy this amazing testimony. My name is Augustine, and this is Men Must Pray. On this channel, I talk about praying in tongues. If you love praying in tongues, you're welcome to subscribe and follow along the teachings. If you would like to support this work with your donation, I will leave details in the description as well as on the screen. The lady who experienced this testimony was a very prayerful lady. She was in her mid-20s and all she did was pray from morning to evening. Because of her heavy inclination to prayer, she was a constant target of people who felt she needed to balance her life. Especially, they wanted her to get a job and not just spend all her time in prayer. But no amount of attacks against her lifestyle of prayer fazed her. She kept going with hours of praying in tongues every day. However, something changed when people started mocking her for being broke. The mockery must have struck a nerve in her that actually set this testimony in motion. She went into prayer and she asked God to provide for her so that people would stop mocking her. She kept making this prayer over a number of months. I know it because for a number of months, this lady kept receiving prophecies about how God would make her wealthy. At first, the prophecies were enough consolation for her, but soon the prophecies were no longer enough to console her because of the ever-increasing criticism that she was receiving from people. It was becoming very clear that she needed a stronger consolation from the Lord for her to keep up with her praying lifestyle. It all happened one morning when the Lord visited her and gave her an assurance like no other. This lady had a close friend, and she was also very close to the pastor. And actually, it was her inner circle that leaked this testimony. The night before the testimony, this lady was in prayer as usual. Though she was facing a lot of criticism, this lady spent a lot of time with God, not being distracted by the criticism that was going on around her. That night, something was triggered. After her night devotion, she went to bed as usual. She fell asleep straight away, but she was woken up by an unusual experience. While asleep, she felt someone was seated on the edge of her bed. Since she was staying alone, it was a very scary realization. Being very shaken, she decided to peep and see if actually there was someone seated at the edge of her bed. She wanted to do it so gently so that if someone was actually seated on the edge of her bed, the person would not realize that she was awake. To her surprise, when she looked at the edge of her bed, she realized that actually somebody was seated there. And there was a lot of light that was coming from this person. But before she could do anything, the light in the room faded away, and so the man who was also seated on the edge of her bed just disappeared. She went back to sleep, but she was a little puzzled. This lady was used to a lot of spiritual activity, so even this experience was not very surprising to her. That's why she could manage to just go back to bed after having such an experience. It was not until the following day in the morning that she actually realized what that man she had seen in her room had actually come to do. This lady had a side table that she used to put her Bible and her phone when she went to sleep. When she woke up the following morning, she found the surprise of her life waiting for her on the side table. The surprise she found is what makes this a very amazing testimony. When she woke up the following morning, on her bedside table, she found a bar of gold. Yes, a full bar of gold, like the ones that banks keep. Previously, this lady had been experiencing gold dust on her hands every time she would pray in tongues, but she had never seen an entire bar of gold given to her after prayer. In amazement, she picked up the bar of gold just to get its fill. She then put it back where she found it and went to take a shower. When she came back, the bar of gold had disappeared. Interestingly, she was not surprised that the bar of gold had actually disappeared, because as it turns out, she knew why the gold bar had actually appeared in the first place. She knew that it was a statement from God that all gold and silver are his, and that she should not worry about the promise that God had made to her to make her wealthy. That is the most amazing praying in tongues testimony I have had to this day. God bless you.